Presenting the moment at hand, the rumination of Ebony. Ebony Black had not planned to linger. Wait Over Wednesdays had a way of pulling time out from under her feet, music spilling across the lawn, laughter floating from picnic blankets, the low hum of conversation mixing with bass lines that felt like summer itself. At 49, Ebony told herself she came for the atmosphere, for the ritual of it, for the beauty of people from all walks of life showing off on a warm evening. She definitely didn't come looking for anyone. Her phone vibrated. It was her youngest in the group chat that she has with her kids. Ebony smiled, slid the phone back into her crossbody, and adjusted the straps of her sundress. Optometrist by day, podcaster by passion, she spent most of her time being poised and proper. Tonight, she just wanted to be present. That's when she heard the voice. "Excuse me, do you know who's performing next?" Masculine, calm, smooth without effort. She turned. He was tall with a salt and pepper beard. He had an ease about him that suggested he was used to people listening when he spoke. There was intelligence in his eyes, and something playful right beneath it. "I think Hub's Groove is up next," she said, "but don't quote me." He smiled. "Fair enough. How are you doing? I'm Upton." She gave one of those let me act like I'm shy smiles and responded with, "Hi, I'm Ebony." They shook hands. His grip was warm, confident, respectful. That's leadership energy, she thought immediately, and laughed at herself for clocking it so fast. "Let me guess," she said, tilting her head. "You teach?" Upton's eyebrows lifted. "Guilty. College professor, sociology." "That explains the voice," she said before she could stop herself. "The voice?" "The I can explain the world to you, but I won't unless you ask voice." He laughed. Deep. Easy. "I'll take that as a compliment." They walked together without deciding to, moving closer to the music as if pulled by the same invisible thread. Conversation flowed easily as they strolled past a variety of individuals. Young, old, black, white, Latino, someone in a wheelchair, and a Rastafarian with locks to his ankles. These Wednesday nights in Cleveland were a whole vibe. By the time they decided to head to the food trucks, the conversation had become personal. "So my kids are 29, 21, and 18, Ebony said with a prideful smile. "Okay, wow, you have 3. Mine are 29 and 7, Upton said. "Okay, wow, you have a 7-year-old, Ebony shot back at him sarcastically. They both paused for a moment and then laughed in unity. Something settled then, a recognition. Not sparks, just ease. When he leaned in slightly so she could hear him over the band, she felt it. Not fireworks, something quieter, deeper. As the sun set, they both felt it was smart to leave before the crowd. He walked her to her car, opened the door, but didn't linger too long. "Can I call you?" he asked. "I'd like that," she said, meaning it. The past tried to creep in the next morning. Ebony stood at her kitchen counter, coffee cooling, doubt warming. Old disappointments had reappeared like morning heartache. Fear was efficient like that. She reminded herself, he's not him. She said that part aloud to prove to herself that she meant it. Upton texted, "Good morning. Hope you have a gentle start to your day." She shook her head, smiling. Days unfolded. Conversations stretched. He listened, really listened, when she talked about her job, her podcast, about balancing motherhood with her own growth. He asked questions that didn't pry, but explored her world. He remembered details, and Ebony adored that. Before the next Wednesday came around, they met again twice. First, for a walk, and again for lunch. He greeted her by text before she made it out of bed now. Every meeting made her blush at 49 like it was 17. It was tender, intentional, unrushed. I'm trying not to overthink this, Ebony admitted as they sunk into their lawn chairs back at Wade Oval 2 Wednesdays later. I can tell. Here, let's do this, Upton said softly while taking both of her hands in his. Let's always remind each other to be where our feet are. We have talked about what we desire in the very near future. But right now, in the moment at hand, our feet are here, on the grass, in the park, and we're having a good time. Let's allow our minds to be where our feet are. She nodded, eyes forward, and mumbled under her breath, That's easier said than done. Over the next 3 weeks, Ebony Black couldn't remember the last day she hadn't talked to Upton King. Not just morning texts, midday check ins, nighttime calls that started with laughter and ended with pauses. The good kind, the kind that meant neither of them was rushing to hang up. 3 dates, too. Dinner first, easy, low pressure, the kind where the food mattered less than the conversation. Then the art museum, standing side by side, interpreting brushstrokes like they were confessions. And the movies, where his arm rested near hers the entire time, respectful but intentional, as if asking permission without words. And still, Ebony felt herself pulling back, not outwardly or dramatically, but internally she was retreating. She'd catch herself watching the way Upton listened, then immediately comparing it to how her ex-husband used to listen before he stopped. She'd notice how Upton asked questions instead of making assumptions. And her mind would rush in with, yeah, but how long does that last? It wasn't fair. She knew that. But fear never cared about fairness. She found herself answering texts slower, responding with neutral tones, avoiding emotional depth when conversations drifted there. Upton noticed, and he wasn't going to let it slide. One evening, after a call ended earlier than usual, Ebony curled up on her couch and called Darcy, her best friend, truth teller, professional reader between the lines. So let me get this straight, Darcy said, already tired of Ebony's nonsense. He's consistent, thoughtful, grown, emotionally available, and that makes you nervous? I just don't want to be blindsided again, Ebony said softly. I don't want to wake up one day and realize I ignored the signs. Darcy's voice softened. Girl, you're not ignoring signs. You're inventing them. Silence sat heavy between them. You keep saying you want something new, Darcy continued. But the moment it doesn't look like the past, you don't trust it. You can't punish Upton for surviving a relationship he never lived. That one landed hard. Meanwhile, Upton was trying patiently. He was fascinated by Ebony, her insight, her humor, the way she balanced motherhood, profession, and passion without ever calling herself extraordinary, though she was. But fascination didn't ease frustration. He felt the distance growing, subtle but present, like reaching for someone whose hand kept slipping just out of range. One night, after she deflected a vulnerable question with a joke, he finally exhaled. Ebony, are you here with me? She froze. I mean, he continued carefully, I feel like most of the time you're talking to me, and sometimes you're talking to who you're afraid I'll become. She didn't have an answer ready, and that scared her more than anything. The next afternoon, Ebony sat at her mother Brenda's kitchen table, watching her stir a pot as if wisdom lived in her wrist. "You're thinking too much," Brenda finally said. Ebony laughed weakly. "You sound like Darcy." "That's because you don't listen the first time," Brenda replied, unfazed. Ebony leaned back. "What if I'm wrong, Mama? What if I missed something important? I keep thinking back on my first marriage. You know I can rattle off the issues we had like a laundry list. But the truth is, he handed me each one of those red flags like roses while we were dating. I just ignored them." Brenda blinked, as only a black mother can do. "Baby, you're an optometrist. You are skilled in helping people see what is in front of them every day. But you keep looking backwards. Oh yeah, when you talk about your past, you got 20/20 vision now. Use those new eyes to make better choices right now in the present." She reached over, squeezed her daughter's arm tenderly. "Focus on the moment at hand. That's where God shows up, not in what already broke you." That night, Ebony sat alone, phone in hand, staring at Upton's name. She knew one thing now. Pushing him away wouldn't protect her heart. It would only guarantee the loss she was trying to avoid. The question wasn't whether Upton would hurt her. It was whether she'd let fear do it first. The following day, while Ebony was at work, she had an epiphany. Not about Upton, but about herself. Her inner thoughts seemed to be louder than ever. "I'll be 50 in 3 months. Every day is another opportunity for me to live my best life. It's time I start acting like I know that." At that moment, Ebony decided to reach out to Upton. The text she sent him simply read, "I miss you. I'm ready to stop looking backwards because you are worth looking forward to."